Hello everyone. In our previous video, we have dealt with other CSS elements that we can able to apply CSS rule in our HTML. And we've able to come up with some projects with the HTML, and we know the elements that we can able to apply using the CSS selectors and applying this rule. In this video, we'll be talking about we want to dive deep into a few or some selected CSS properties. Now we'll be talking about CSS color in CSS colors. Now in CSS, as I said, we'll be doing the coloring, changing colors, and then font size and laying out. So we want to dive deep in coloring. Now you will see that some of this code we have already applied some in our previous video. Background color and then color. Now in the CSS rule, anytime you see a background color, it means you want to give your background a color. And anytime you see color, it means you want to change a particular font's color into a different. And we all know by default the color is black. So you want to change the color, you call your font's color, you say color, and then the value comes to change the color. Now I want to talk about a few colors. As I said, in live developments in HTML, I always say we should use the color coding, and you don't need to memorize this color coding. Now this color coding, there are a lot of places that you can get. If you go to mdn.color issue in your Google, you can just type in your Google search in there, and then you type in the mdn color. So this one will give you all the CSS colors in there. So you click on the color properties, and here you'll find a lot of color with their various property in there. So it's loading. Let's see in there. So you find various color property which you can able to use them in your HTML. So let me check it again. The CSS property. Right. Okay. All right. So these are some other color properties. So if you check this color, it's a color code that you can able to use in there. And these are other ones. The orange. These are the header. As I said, we have the color name and then the hexadecimal color, which I said is normally used when you are doing live programming. We also use this one. So we'll learn when we'll be using this one in there. All right. So these are other color properties in the MD5, the MD, and that I told about in CSS. So we want to check in more CSS color properties. So let me type in MD CSS in there, and then we go to the CSS color MD doc. All right. So these are documentation around the colors. You can also read for yourself, and then you apply them in your code also in HTML. All right. Now another important thing that I want to talk about is another website which is called the color hunting. So we have color hunting. So in the color hunting, they have a plate of color. So here is it. When you type in color hunt in your Google search, so in your Google search, you type in the color hunt. So color hunt, and then it takes you to their website. Here is it. So they have a color plater. So if you can see, you can take this color plater. So you can able to use the color combination or any of these one in your code. So in case you have to select any of these, maybe you can decide to use this one as your the header and the nav, and then some of this color for some of the headings and other stuff, or menus in there. So this one too, you see that the color hexadecimal names over there. So all these places are the color hunting. You can able to get other colors able to use in your CSS. So basically the CSS color property, this is where you can get also to apply it in your background. So you can take any of this color. So in case you want this color as your background, you copy it, and then in your HTML CSS code, you come and then you paste the color code in there. So I then do the Control S, I paste the code, and then I think I didn't select it well, so let me repaste it again. You paste the code, and there's a background, and then in case you see any colors I said, this is the color that I picked. I want to use this one as the color for the fonts, maybe for the heading too. I'll just go into my code and then paste in the color code over there. So I just paste it, and then it says highlight, and then you paste it in. So the color is being used, and it will be applied in your HTML code, whatever you have your heading over there. So in case you have inserted your CSS in code where we have link in your in there, this will be applied inside in there in your HTML. All right. So that's what we will talk about, the color coding. So when you do the linking, and then you do the href, then dot slash current position, then we close our tag in there. So this one, the color will be applied in your HTML code. So that's what I'll say. When we refresh our code, you see that the heading will be changed with the background. If you have heading 2, the changes will be able to reflect in there. All right. So that's how the color, this way you can get colors to be able to use in your other code. All right. Another important thing I want to talk about is the fonts property. Fonts property. Now, if you can see, most of the code will be using some font property. So we can have a font property in there. So using the body element, remember you've seen in the font weight in here. So we have a font weight. So the font weight, it will give like the font size in Word. So in your Word documents, font weights are normally for font size. Now in HTML, in HTML and CSS, now if you want to have a font size, we have pixels, and then we have points. So it's either PT or pixels, and there are more. Now the difference between the pixels, which is PS, and then the PT is that the pixels uses, see our screen, it uses pixels. Now the points uses what? It's the points you work similar like the Microsoft Word. We see the Microsoft Word, you will see that they have the font size 12 and then other styles. So let me open my Microsoft Word. For instance, if you take a Microsoft Word, you go to their font size here. You see that they have 12. So these points work as what is Microsoft. So the font size, in case I select 12, how it appear here. If I select 14, this one is 14 points. So this is how the size will be. So when you're dealing with points, it works as the font size at Microsoft Word. Now Pixel is a bit different. So you can try the pixels. That one is more of the screen pixel size of it. So you can use any of them and it will work. And then you check the one that is okay for you, the font size, and then you increase your font size. So font weight is just to increase the font size in there. So this is another property I will talk about. Then another one I want to talk about is the font family. So font families are changing the font style. You can see all these ones are font family. How do you know what's the outcome of this one? Now we have a website. When you go to the MD, and you type in font, it will bring you. So these are some other fonts. So if you can see, this how font file, the Georgette and the Sapphire, how they look like. So why do we have, now we have the generic name and then the actual name? This is a font name and this is a generic name. Why do we sometimes some of the fonts, if you come here, they have a lot of names in there because of different operating system. this same font is the same as this is a generic name. This is the actual name, this is a generic name. So if other operating system is not able to pick this one, it's able to work with this one with maybe iOS, Android, or other OS. So that's why some of the fonts you see it's having more names. It's mean the same thing. Just that one is a generic name, the one is the actual name. So the actual name is there, and then it has a generic name that we add it over there, so that in case the actual name does not work, the generic name will work on other operating system. So if you go to the MD5, they have a lot of fonts in there that you can able to use in and see how the output look like over there. So this is how the fantasy the art look like there. Just that's why system UL this is how it look like. So this is how the outcome look. You can see the difference in there. They are not the same in over there. So all these places you can able to get in some font sizes. So you see all these ones are different, and then the names are up there to see how the font size. Also, there's another website. So this one is a if you go to fonts.google.com. So Google has have a lot of fonts. If you go to font.google.com, all these ones are different kind of fonts that can be used. So if you can see, if you want this font, just click on it and then it's pop up. So they have way you can have a few how each of them look like. So you want this font, as I said, it will give you the output of the font, and this is how you can able to increase the width if you want it italic, if you wanted the width. So all these ones are other things you can able to adjust all this one for your CSS. So when you're done with that, you just click on get font. So when you click on get font, you see there's a code here. So these are the font family. So these are the code around it. So you just click on the either you download it, or this one of the best way is to just get the code. Then when you get the code, what you do is that you copy all these plates, this portion where we have them embedded here, and then you will set it in the head of your HTML. You will set it in your head. So as I said, the head, the closing of the head, before the closing of the head, you insert it here. This font should be applied in your code. So all these ones are fonts that have been said. You can check other website, they have this one. So when you set the head to, they have the code over there. You can able to copy the CSS code. So these are the CSS code which have been also written here. So you can copy them and then use them in your code as you want it over there. So all these ones are code that can be able to apply. You can also read about your phone. So these ones are there. So you should go for the web. If you are developing Android app or Flutter, those going for Flutter, iOS, then you go for the, but this one is a web application. So we go for the one in web, and then you copy it and then you apply it in your HTML. So we've talked about the font family. So as I say, to memorize them, you just need the outcome is there. Use any of them what you want, and then you apply it in your code. Now that we know that we have understand the fonts family, another important thing I want to talk about is the another important thing I want to talk about is just a minute. I want to talk about excuse me, is a text alignment. Now, if you take like Microsoft Word has some features where if you want to justify left align, center, and then right, and then justify. So in that same web application, we have where you want to position your text. And the one that one we call it text align. So text align, here's it. They have different. So we have the center, and then I'll talk about the end. We have the justify as we work at Microsoft Word, and then we have the left, we have the right, and then these ones we'll talk about them when we are using the JavaScript and other stuff. Now, the end and the starts, you see some language like Arabic, they have where they are starting from. So you specify where you want to start from. So it's starting from the end. You see the right from the right to the left. So that one you go for end, and then the text will start writing from the end, and then that place. And then if you want from start, it means you want to start from right, and then it will end at the other side. So that's what the text Basically, I'll be using the left, the right, and the justify and the center a lot, unless you're writing Arabic pages that you need to go in for that. So that's what align test center and then align test center. That is what it means over there. So these are a few properties that we can talk about in font, certain font properties. So font property, we have the font weight, font family, and then font align. All right. I think the last part I want to talk about is just a few things. I don't want to bother you. Is the development to what I talk about it. See, you can see somebody's website. You may see a color, a design, or their CSS code that you may like it. You want to apply it in yours. So you can inspect it and then apply in your code in very well. So for instance, if this one is a website, I want to know their background, to know in there. As you know, you use a control on Windows, Control Shift I, then you open the development tools for you. So Control Shift I, open it for you. As you can see, that's opened mine for me nicely in over here. That's for how the Control Shift I work in here for you. Now, if you check very well, sometimes you will see that your develop to open at the left or bottom in there, you can change it to any position that you want. All right. Now, if you can also, if your Windows, you can also use the function key and then F12. Function key and the F12 to that one to also can bring the development tools over there, the Chrome development tool. So if you come here down here, if you can see down here, yours, if yours is done, you look for something like a four square box, which is a tag drawing orientation. So if I click here and then, all right, so let me close this one in here. All right, so I can come and then change the position where I want to put it. So this one, it is showing at the left hand side in there. So let me close it and then change the position. So if yours is showing at the bottom in over there, you can change the position of where your is, and then it will position into a good place for you as you want over there. So you can check yours down there. I want to check mine. It's hidden somewhere here. All right. So let me see the tag orientation. All right, in here. Okay. So I think when you click on the two dots at up there, so where we have the moment to click here, I think these are the rotation. So you can click if yours is showing down here, then so at the top there where we have the let me increase the size of it. So where you have the three dots, where do you have the developmental to down where I'm open, you click on it and then you have it. So if you want it at the right, you click on it. If you want it at the left, you click on it over there, in over there. So wherever you want it, you click it over there. Now, if I want to inspect these elements, for instance, to see the CSS over there, when you click, you go to CSS star, it gives you the star around it so you can see. It's telling me the color that has been used in the first LI, the first child. So as I said, these ones are listed, the Java child. So it's giving me all the CSS code in there. You can also click here and give you the source. So this one is the source of all our CSS. You can see in other people's code in there, and the source is showing nicely in over there. And still, where we have the dots, you can click here and then you go to more tools at the development tools and you say CSS overview. We can also see the CSS overview of somebody's web application. So when you click on overview, as you capture the overview, you say yes to give you all the rules around it, the colors that have been used in their various websites. So these are the colors, you can use them. So in case some website you see their colors, you can come here and see all their colors in being used. These are the colors and these are the fonts that they've used in there. You can get all the information around the websites and then you can able to apply in yours. All right. So that is the end of our lesson today. You watch the video, you like it, and then you share with other people. Also comment with if you have any issue, comment and then let me know. That's I say God bless you and God be with you all and thank you. Bye bye.